Hi, it's Ileana, and I have Dr. Amir with me today. Hi, Amir.
Hi, Ileana. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. Looking forward to another amazing project.
Indeed. So today we are remote viewing Drago Reid. I had initially done a project for him for remote viewing from the quantum field of his soul, and all of that information is now in the book Command Nexus. So some of these questions that you've never seen before come from the remote viewing that I did of him that's in this book.
Absolutely. It's an honor.
The first question that he is asking was, what put me in a trance while reading the book that caused me to disassociate? So whenever you're ready, we can get started.
There's a number of causes for the trance. One is um, a type of regenerative implant um, attached to the occipital lobe, the back of the brain, messing with the visual part of the brain, but also attached with very tiny tendrils into the deeper centers, uh, triggering a state of dissociation. It is regenerative. Hopefully, we'll have a chance to work with Drago and permanently get rid of this. As we continue to learn, we are exposed with newer technologies, and we also are updating our skill. Um, so that's the first cause of this. But also there is a time effect, or let's say an effect of multiple copies, where the version of Drago existing in these events is overpowering the version that is here now in the 3D. Again, following protocols of secrecy. So it is kind of willing and unwilling disassociation. So it seems that the Drago in 3D reality and linear time is breaking through these limitations that another aspect wishes to basically have done.
Yeah, when I was trying to remote view the various aspects of him that do these missions, I couldn't approach it from a standard remote viewing aspect of observation. I have to go into his deep, deep quantum field soul to
Mhm.
see these things. And it was so much information, it had to be put in a certain way to make sense of it. And because it was different missions. So, and I had to bypass some interference measures. I had to bypass everything that hurts and everything that threatens, basically, like because there was that energy in there. So to bypass that, I did the remote viewing in the quantum field where it is very safe. So that's how I did it, and I guess so it wouldn't stop me and prevent me from going in to see. So I think that I kind of felt that energy there and I bypassed it.
So there is a very powerful consciousness, which is this aspect of Drago himself. Um, Naturally, that version would not be acquainted with us and our objective, and so it would be considered as a outside influence. And so the first instinct would be to block it out. And when we are in tip-top shape, in the peak of our ability, we do have access to other aspects of our own infinite soul. I've seen this over and over and over in terms of healing, where the current version in a human body has the ability not just to heal themselves, but send out waves of correction towards every other aspect. So all versions of that soul are receiving healing from one unique and again the same kind of pain or disease or implant. Here it's a defense initiated by a version that is still at the midst of a mission. So a
Mm.
very powerful mind trying to maintain self-control.
And he asks, it would make me freeze and not let me read next parts of the book.
It seems that um, a council of reconciliation and unification is in order, where all these aspects get to see each other. And this usually doesn't occur. Um, but in the case of someone that is a super soldier or involved in very exotic projects where the highest good of one aspect and all aspects are involved, then this would be, in fact, something to do in an ethical way, introducing each shard to the other one so that the soul understands itself. And so, what I mean by this is undoing the fracturing that has happened, because sometimes this fracturing through methods such as trauma-based mind control, this goes way too far. It is not organic. It is not divine creation or separation of energy. Also, please consider that cloning is involved. We both know this with our wonderful friend Drago, where other copies of the original energy are also being utilized. And this is, well, he is a victim of his own greatness and success. Certain soldiers are so amazing that they are copied. We
Mm.
see this in many, many ways, even in primitive cultures, where elite warriors were asked to produce an unusually large number of children, tens or hundreds of them, to just to keep that spark ongoing in the tribe. So it seems that this applies here too.
Well, I saw three copies of his clones, two males and
Yeah.
a female. So those were, and I couldn't look at them directly through normal remote viewing, so I went to the quantum remote viewing to get
Hmm.
that information.
Hmm.
That's why I think he was disassociating because it was hard reading what was retrieved from the quantum field. That wanted to go back into the secrecy vault, but
Yes,
it's out in the world. Anybody can read that.
that is correct. If I may respectfully just add something,
Hmm.
the as far as I have had the honor of working with many of such super soldiers, the version that is in 3D Earth in linear time, they are overloaded with implants, interfering with the natural abilities and gifts, so they don't remember. There's lots of stuff causing noise in their system, so they're not at full power. But we have cases, for example, like yourself, dare I say myself, who managed to get rid of these obstacles. And then we are a force to reckon with because we are truly free. We have broken out of the most severe type and variety, types and varieties of control mechanisms. And so this is the most powerful shard, able to unify the rest of them.
Hmm. And he says that I would go into a daze that lasted for a few hours and I would just sit there and do nothing like I was caught in a programming loop.
Yeah, yeah.
So is that the
Wasting.
protective mechanism?
It's a well, a defensive mechanism. So the version of this soul that is initiating this, it's like sending out a taser blast. And so those hours of haziness or incapacitation are the intended purpose. It's meant to last a lot longer, by the way, or to permanently overload remote viewing ability in an opponent. And so now it is applied to a different version of the same consciousness or the same soul. It's lasting significantly shorter. He's snapping out of it a lot faster. Still, it's taking a number of hours, but that's just to emphasize the potency of this defense mechanism.
And I was able to avoid this because I went through a quantum field, basically, where it's like entering an energy vault and looking at all the active parts of him that are on missions and these clones and other aspects. And just, I'm looking at this from a safe point of view where I'm not engaging in overriding the safety mechanisms. I'm not blasting the vault to get in. I'm sort of finding keys to the vault to safely do this because I've been attacked before in the past too in doing
Mhm.
remote viewing, especially on targeted individuals or highly classified individuals who are
Yes.
in top secret projects. So to avoid this, I sensed you have to go a different path. You have to go a different way. There has to be more safety. There has to be more protection. So I sensed that what he was experiencing, I sensed to avoid that, it had to be done through a whole new way of remote viewing. So I just followed that safety and what I felt was good to do. And I guess I avoided all of that, but he had to read the findings of the remote viewing, and it had still triggered him because he had to know it, but he had to overcome this stuff.
I'm of the opinion he's getting stronger. Um, After a certain number of exposures, um, the energetic structure, similar to the body, builds immunity. And so then you are able to take a certain type of shock or toxin and completely transmute it without it having any sort of disabling effects.
Mhm. He's,
Um,
yeah.
he's getting there.
Yes, he said it kept happening over and over for 2 weeks and took me that long to read the book because it kept setting me off.
Well, 2 weeks is not long enough. I'm talking about a number of years, perhaps. Um, but it's definitely going to happen. The will is there.
Well, I guess I inoculated him because there was so much information. The book is 260 pages.
Mhm.
Um, so he had to be inoculated. And it's like parts of himself are attacking him, and he has
Yes,
to know the truth. And they're attacking him to either protect him or to just buffer off the truth if it's too much stuff. And the buffering, he's fighting the buffering because he just wants to know the truth, as he should have access to his own information. And the book is a way of disclosing this truth and allowing it to come out, but in a safe way. So this was buffering him, I guess, to because he had to take in so much information in a short time. There's not much time here. This is being
right.
done in such a quick way that everything has to be prepared, and he
Correct.
has to assimilate everything so quickly, and take in the info because it's for his stuff that he's doing for his projects. So there's just a time factor, and he did the best he could.
Well, I salute the gentleman. It's not easy. Well, he's a warrior through and through. I know he's not unaccustomed to hardship. So this is good. This is the result of the best efforts. And so it's an honor to be part of this.
Hmm. And then we get into what I presume is the clone stuff. He asks, how did I end up running a ship with three separate alters, all existing and interacting with each other all at once? What was the origin of that, and what were the circumstances leading up to its inception?
Yes, it's a replication of the original vessel plus light body. And so one may ask rightfully so, about the soul. What does the infinite soul do? And this occurs surprisingly frequently, where the soul is up to the game. It wants to play. And so, essence, the same essence animates those bodies. And of course, there are cases where the soul says, oh, absolutely not, where the clone fails. This is one of the cases where the soul was absolutely up to the adventure. And so there is a joyful participation with the energy and the codes of the soul, filling in the blanks and initiating corrections where the replication is not perfect. So these clones are virtually perfect. And again, there is no perfect. The virtual perfection means that there are subtle differences between each of these beings. But yet those qualities that are highly favored are present in all of them. So it's a really nicely done job, done with great mastery, may I add, with awareness of the spiritual technologies or principles required here. There's a negotiation involved where the original being is consulted. It is not done without consent. And so free will is not violated here. It is one of those things where, with the permission of all aspects of the being, from the infinite soul and the divine realm down to the physical level, where biological samples are provided, this is done willingly. And so the individual is on board. They understand the reasoning behind the need for more of themselves. In fact, it's kind of interesting, amusing. Now, the three of them being in one place must be one hell of a mission. To require this type of concentrated force of that type in one location, in time, space, and consciousness.
It's on the same ship.
Same ship.
They know each other.
Yeah.
And they play the role of the commander and the logistics, the three of them
Yeah.
on this ship. So I was following them around. I was seeing their active missions in
Yes.
real time. This is not in the past, it's real time missions that they have performed, and just getting to know their history as well. The back end of what makes them them. That's what I saw in their missions. And that fit all in a huge book.
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to look at the first commander. His name is the male Merrick.
Yes.
And so the first set of questions is about Merrick. What does Merrick see when he looks in a mirror outside the simulation?
There is the knowingness at a very deep and fundamental level of the history of the soul, the absolute excitement of all that has been seen and done and achieved, the victories, but also the failures and defeats, comrades and friends lost over a very, very long time. We're talking about 2,300 or so years here. And so this is something that is unique because the memories are intact at some level. Unlike natural incarnation and reincarnation, where the physical body is different, and so there's no physical memory within the, let's say, the neuroanatomy. There are no networks holding memory, so that there's not any presence of this information in the body. In this individual, this is not the case. So the memory in the form of the events, pictures, smells, sounds, the knowingness, the emotional content, and the age-old wisdom are present. Although in some aspects this may be suppressed artificially. But the conscious mind is just a very, very small portion of the entirety of consciousness. And so looking in the mirror, all this would come bubbling to the surface and then being suppressed at the last moment.
What emotions does he suppress when issuing lethal orders?
Certainty, the sequence of cause and effect, the rewards of victory, and the terrible cost of failure has been observed and fully understood and deeply integrated at all levels. There is a almost mechanical precision to this, not out of ignorance, but quite to the contrary, out of full understanding. It's come down to a fine art how to do this, to install courage in those who are receiving the command. Even if that recipient is the self, how to calm the nerves and dampen any sort of fear, hesitation, pain, discomfort, and so on. And this is one of the qualities unique in this being, to such a degree where it merits the cloning. The clones are about 150 years old each, as we are speaking.
What is the oldest memory Merrick has that wasn't part of mission data?
Life by the beach as a boy, being naughty, observing rituals of the priesthood. And this is Greece, it's the Mediterranean. So somewhere around the Mediterranean, I'm not sure now if this is Greece or the other side, Egypt or Algeria, but it's Greece. The skin is dark, so Mediterranean boy, observing that which he was not supposed to, and getting drawn in, because as he was caught, he showed boldness. So he wasn't executed, he was brought in. And this is about 2 millennia ago. The vessel has undergone all types of modification in this long time. Of course, you can imagine the amount of damage that this vessel has received is insane. It's too much. And so repair has been conducted at all levels. 80% of the soft tissue is not original. So with reconstruction of the body, all types of changes and upgrades could be done along the journey.
What is the symbol he sees in dreams that he can't decode?
The symbol is a gateway. It doesn't just represent a ideology or a faction, or let's say a group of comrades. It's a gateway. Let's look into it. I'm getting triangles and diagonal lines in the middle of it. It's a set of commandments, so to speak, ethical and logical laws of conduct. One of the very early imprints conducted to beings like him. He's the last of his kind. None of the others survived quite so long, but it's a very ancient form of imprinting types of compulsory behavior, laws of conduct. So this is, it has remained, it has lasted with him. It's very, very old.
When does the command voice in his head not sound like his own?
Never. It's very effective because most people um, within the majority of their life have internal dialogue, inner speech or covert speech. It's the sound of our mind. And so if instructions can be um, presented and given using the same internal speech mechanism, it is highly effective. After all, it is our own idea, isn't it? And so this is the mechanism used. It's one's own internal voice. It is not a different voice. It makes it much easier for the rest of the organism to accept it.
And Merrick has the ability of a commanding voice that when he gives leadership orders, they're followed because it's a wave frequency in his voice of
Yes,
command. He's like the
yes,
alpha commander.
yes, 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 yes. It is not just about the vocal cords. It is very much so an energetic property, that of a leader that leads from the front. Follow me. It's not an instruction to go ahead while I sit back and watch. It is example. It is leading by example, installing confidence and bringing to the surface all the right emotional and energetic qualities.
It's a psychic
So
projection as well.
yes, 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 yes.
So it's heard in multiple ways.
It's heard and it is effective in all the right ways with the purpose of warfare. Very effective type of leader. Now, usually such souls, um, when they are reincarnated, they still have the same qualities, starting from usually humble beginnings, but absolutely earning the respect of everyone around them. So there is no question about the merit and the capability of such a being. Now, in this case, the original body is intact. Um, Back with the initiation of Drago's membership, um, soul tracking, although possible, but was not easy. One born in Greece 2,000 years ago would be born again after 400 years in China. How would they get hold? And so the preservation of the original vessel was possible. That was the approach taken. Nowadays, there's greater monitoring of what soul is going where and where they're born and what they're going to do. So the original body is less important. Drago is a example of a very ancient type of super soldier.
What core moment broke him and reshaped his leadership style?
Broke him. Nothing broke him. He is unbroken in the sense that he was able to flex and bend when the force was powerful, for the force to come and pass, for him to stand up tall again. So there is absolutely adaptability, but never accepting of defeat. There's strategy in there's a deep strategy in survival and perseverance, meaning that even membership in these programs has not broken him. We see this in the human version that is with us now, bringing the possibility of this information finally coming out to the surface, despite many, many levels of opposition and suppression.
All these three clones, the programs try to dismantle them and wipe out their memories and core existences. Yet they always rise like the phoenix from the ashes and the fire and remember who they are because their backup codes are on the soul essence, on the psychic quantum field.
Precisely, precisely. It is out of reach of every single type of program. This is built into the soul, preserved out of the boundaries of this universe. We did some healing work together regarding the crystalline structure of the soul at the multi-universal level. And that's not the end of it. That is still a tiny aspect of the infinite soul. So in that location, or let's say in that scale, where the soul is multi-universal, it is untouchable. And so that perseverance, which has been earned by graduating through the lessons and hardships of many universes, that is very much intact. That cannot be compromised. It can only be negotiated with. And so the soul absolutely seeks excitement and novel experiences and adventure and rites of passage. And so that is what has made this possible. It's not in the flesh and bones or the energetic structure of the body. It is very much so a soul thing.
How often does he question his true origin?
With every breath. It's nonstop. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? What time is it? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? So it's ongoing. He would benefit massively from completing the Kujikiri system, which will give him the answer. Unifying all the shards in this universe and this cluster of universes, anything related to the programs, back to a unified, let's say, organic or divine type of shard, purging all the nonsense, all the implants, all the fracturing, suppression, and control.
What part of Merrick's his command training caused the deepest trauma?
The loss of innocent life, collateral damage. This is true for every divine being. And this never gets easier or less painful. It burns just the same 2,000 years after. And so one of the things that would probably be a undesired side effect of living quite so long is the accumulated effect of this loss of innocence, especially those that are close to us, people we have love for. This happens so often in any war. Now imagine 2,000 or so years of this. That is the worst of it. Because this type of being is not numb. This being is not psychopathic. Quite to the contrary, there is very, very deep empathy. That empathy or being empathic is one of the first gifts that comes online. It's the window to consciousness. And so they feel very deeply. That cannot be suppressed, neither through mind control, nor through implants, nor through drugs. That is the most difficult thing.
What is his greatest unspoken fear about the crew?
He sees everyone under his custodianship and care as one of his. And so wasting their life, wasting their vital energy and not reaching the objective. So the waste of human life, that is frustrating. Dare I say, invoking the emotion of fear. Now, if they succeed in what they have set out to do, loss is something that is a constant. The entire crew and the entire ship, and himself also in many cases, they go in guns blazing and no one comes out, and then they pick up the pieces and bring him back. But getting blindsided, being foolish, falling into an ambush, and losing everyone without getting it done, that is unacceptable.
Has Merrick ever disobeyed a kill order and why? This is rhetorical as this is me on a core level, but would be cool to answer nonetheless, nevertheless.
Of course, there are qualities of strategy in this being. And as it goes in every domain, sometimes leadership is given to fools. And so a command to execute a prisoner without extracting vital information is very overtly rejected without hesitation. And this comes with millennia of experience that no, 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 oh, no, 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 we don't do that. So there's no crusade. There's an objective which makes sense in every level. There is strategy, and need be there is aggression, but there is not wastefulness. The wasting of the life of an innocent, which is standing by, without involvement, is not something that this being will abide by. Many in the position of power have learned this the hard way. And so they very, very quickly become the enemy if they insist. Consequences be damned.
What species or consciousness oversees Merrick without his knowledge?
Seems these species have come and gone. So there's not just a singular one. Starting from dimension 9, they're the mantids observing the genetic code of this being from the organic birth, but also from previous incarnations. Please keep in mind this soul is what it is. It is its nature to be a leader. So involvement in warfare, military command, it goes way back to the first incarnation. As far as I can see, 150,000 years ago. Initial let's say, quote unquote, Earth-based or Earth-involved beings are the Anunnaki. Of course, then there is a treaty between the Anunnaki and reptilians. So reptilian involvement. Let's come forward in time, around of the time of Atlantis. Then it's given to human handlers, the priesthood in Lemuria. Mighty protector of the domain. Most of these lifetimes, there is voluntary involvement. Sometimes there is, however, deception. That usually does not work well. Sooner or later, this soul finds out the truth, and then it's payback time. So there's a large dossier or record of how to deal with or how to correctly interact with this being. At certain stages, because of the necessities of the type of work that is being done, there is voluntary amnesia with very, very strict conditions towards reintegration of the memories. This has been violated in the recent few cycles, including this 2,000-year cycle. And so payback time is approaching, I would imagine.
And I saw that in the remote viewing because Merrick's memories, deltas, and alphas were scrubbed completely. Some of it was voluntary, some of it was not. And so it's a fight for memories, for getting back their memories.
This type of soul gets infuriated with deception. It is seen as a sign of inferiority. It is it evokes great rage, but not out of control aggression, however. It kickstarts a process of purging and cleansing, down to the last one involved. There's something about honor. So honor in battle. There are certain do's and don'ts very strictly observed in all levels. And so this is a property of the soul. This type of soul is usually an instrument of balance. Any universe they enter and then leave is going to be better for it. And so it doesn't matter if it is light that has been purged or shadow. The end result is greater balance, which benefits the highest good of all. So it's kind of a big picture thing. And so in this universe, again, seems that the darkness or the evil has spread way beyond balance. And I think Drago's job is just getting started. So involvement in these types of projects would give him first-hand experience and information. So the knowledge is not second-hand. This is very important. The consequences of the decisions then are on him, and he does it with great conviction. It is the right thing.
And what I saw was the cleanup and the reckoning process of all of this happening as it
Agreed.
unfolds.
Agreed. Now, of course, with such a soul, this unique type of warrior, and there is a place for this in the divine order of things, this type of soul will take out the worst of the worst. So those that through deception and dishonor manage to avoid normal purges and acts of balance built into the universe, certain beings will take hostages. For example, taking humanity hostage. And so therefore a more surgical and precise type of approach is needed towards balance. This is where a soul like this will come in.
What scent or sound triggers his unwanted flashbacks?
That is purely an associative process. Any of the senses could have this effect. A certain type of perfume, sitting in a cafe and hearing the china clink. Each of these can open up formerly suppressed memories, bringing them powerfully to the surface. So there are many of them acquired through repetition, times of joy and times of hardship. The type of sound you specifically asked, let me have a look. Now what I am getting is a Georgian hymn. Listening to it, this is very beautiful, but it does have, it acts as a key, a certain type of specific code unlocking very specific type of compartmentalized set of properties. So a Georgian hymn, that kind of, or maybe you would hear this in a church, religious kind of, so soothing to even a child. So that's the kind of thing I'm getting, general properties. Of course, in the last level, which is my mind translating the information, it's coming out in this way of describing. But that's the general sense of it. Music, music, hymns, something that is soothing.
Is his identity entirely original, or was it curated from handlers or programmers?
By very necessity, a great modification was done to the vessel in different events, depending on different missions. The purging of critical information from the physiological structure, memories in the brain, these can be, the networks holding the memory can be broken up. So under interrogation, there is no information to divulge. But this type of limiting is also done with non-physical implants, and going all the way, in this case, to dimension 7. And then, of course, it's um, uh, at the choice of who is doing the reintegration of how much of it to return. Now, regardless of this, all of it is stored in the multi-universal aspect of the soul. So all in all, the physical and energetic structure of the body, the physical body and the light body, have undergone almost total reconfiguration. It's not the original, other than DNA pretty much. So the whole thing has been renewed many times over, but the experience of this and the wisdom gained is with the soul. This being just needs to reconnect to that aspect and download the whole thing.
What emotion does he feel but cannot identify?
Infinite joy. Infinite joy, because coming here, especially getting entangled into 3D Earth, it's like winning the lottery. Many, many beings are aware of this incredible, crazy, insane, harsh game going on, and not all of them naturally gain entry. Some are privileged, they are created here, but the visitors have to be spectacular in order to be given entry. And so still there is this joy that, yes, even at this level of scrutiny and selection, I have been deemed worthy. And so this whole thing is an experience of a refinement and evolution for the soul that came here. So the underlying energy is joy and contentment. The wonders that have been observed are very uncommon in the cosmos. This is greatly valued and brings deep contentment and joy and satisfaction to the soul.
How many times has he died and come back unaware?
Most of them, or let's be more specific, where the injury takes out the head and the heart, but they can be reconstructed. There are mechanisms of backup before missions. The memories are stored for the event of injury or catastrophic injury, which disintegrates the nervous system. Now, the physical and energetic parts of the vessel can be reconstructed, but they are reconstructed to a very high standard towards the backup. And so certain memories are lost. A number of days or weeks after the backup, they are not there. But then there are other mechanisms of recording information, taking logs, notes, mission notes, and so on that can be then studied. And the being is brought back to full awareness. But this happens frequently. Type and number of such events, 53 times in the past 2,000 years, this being has lost its head, but brought back quite nicely.
And sometimes he accesses the lost memories between the backup through the quantum field. Like what I was able to access him through, he can access those lost memories that way as well. Because that can't be erased unless the soul is totally destroyed. Then it's gone. But if the soul is intact, the energy of the soul, you can access those memories always through the quantum field. That can't be destroyed or manipulated.
That is correct. So even that level of the soul, so down the scale of illusion and division from source, even the next level up from physicality, which is the multi-universal aspect, that cannot be reached from within a single universe. So unless something that is equally evolved takes that part out, the memories are intact. But please consider there is yet higher aspects of the soul. And so that holds the entirety of it, ultimately going back to source, which holds the entirety of all there is. So nothing is lost, but gaining access from a point, for example, being incarnated in a human body all the way up, that requires dedication in healing, purification, and remembering. So that wouldn't be quite automatic all the way up, but accessing that element of the soul that is multi-universal right at the gates of an individual cluster of universes, that can be done relatively quickly. And so over time, this being would have been exposed to a great variety of spiritual practices, not being interested in the woo-woo, but absolutely being interested in what works. Elite warriors throughout time are aware of the benefits of spiritual practice and bringing online their extrasensory gifts. It gives them an edge in battle, sharper reflexes, faster healing, precognitive abilities, remote viewing, and so on. And so this wonderful being is not an exception. So regaining memories and some quite impressive spiritual gifts that come and go is one of the properties of this being.
How many total years has he served as Merrick, in total years including time travel?
2000. With the clones, 2,300.
Is Merrick able to open time travel portals and create Star Gateway portals?
Yes. Yes.
Is that his unique ability as Merrick and also as Drago in this human incarnation?
No, no. The portal technology is in point and fact quite common. After empathy, which is almost universal, even animals have this, then going to the level of sentience of a human being, portal technology seems to be one of the natural gifts that we have. So this is very common, especially in dream time. This is fully demonstrated, where we travel through the cosmos without limitation. So it's not unique to him. Healing abilities sometimes require a certain type of body to fully emerge. Telekinesis and teleportation in physicality, these are the more unique things that this being can do.
And Drago himself in this current human incarnation, can he naturally build Star Gateway portals and teleportation as energetic ability and go through portals?
Further remembrance is required. He needs to let himself free. The short answer is yes.
And has Drago in his human incarnation battled reptilians and defended Earth against reptilian invasions?
Yes. Yes. There is a result of this effort over the centuries, where certain treaties were signed that very, very strictly and severely limited what the reptilians and the Anunnaki could do. This didn't happen with polite language. Battles were waged, and after every level of defeat, they conceded to ever greater limitation. And so at this present time, only the most ancient thinkers amongst the pirate species that interact, I call them the frickin' pirates, the species that interact with humanity in a harmful way, in a self-serving way. Only the most ancient strategists have survived. Brute force is pretty much removed So anything that had the audacity to face humanity in open battle is gone. And so now humanity is existing in the last stages of imprisonment, and it is a prison of the mind. No more physical chains and whips and branding and that stuff, although it does occur in certain parts of the world, but it is not as widespread as it used to be. It is very much so a prison of propaganda, of distortion, of belief systems, of the matrix. And this is about to be rolled out. So again, I go down a rabbit hole. Please forgive me, but the short answer is yes.
Mm. And how can the physical aspect of Drago in this human body get rid of the gray programming that's been influencing him half of his life and not allowing him to sleep or have rest and quiet?
The Kujikiri. I've given it to him.
Mm.
I think he hasn't done it.
Yes, because there's soul shard splits in different time, trapped in different timelines of him. That's what doesn't allow the sleeping. It distorts his quantum field and it interferes with the human aspect of him.
Yes. So it is all possible. This is what a being like this does. And it is very much so his destiny. The collection of shards from a very large number of domains of consciousness into the true self. I'm of the understanding that the true mission hasn't yet even begun. This was all due diligence, doing the legwork, gathering of the ingredients, getting first-hand knowledge so deception becomes impossible. Nobody can tell him, no, it was this and this. He'll just say, oh, just shut up already. I was there. You see, there's a value to this, although it is hard and it is painful and it takes a long time, but this is how such things are done correctly. After all, what is 150,000 years in the age of a universe or the eternity of an infinite soul? It's done correctly, and this is the way it is done.
What would Merrick become without the fleet?
What would the fleet become without Merrick? You see, such a being does not require fancy tools to be magnificent. Drop him down with a leaf for underwear, like Adam and Eve, and he's going to build himself something really nice and cozy. Merrick is going to be okay.
He's very advanced. He can make tools. He can create any reality he wants and reshape reality itself. And that's what the fleet benefits from him because he has that
Precisely.
ability.
Precisely. Now add military discipline and also equally effective mechanisms of mind control where there is no resistance to orders initiated by this being. Everybody is falling in line. There's no hesitation. There's no mutiny, so to speak. Everybody hears and immediately does. That will make for one effective unit.
What kind of guilt does he carry for lost lives under his command?
The guilt is from the smallest aspects, the human aspect. Of course, the deep empathy, the bonds of friendship, the trauma of betrayal and lost love. But then as we go up the scale of consciousness, greater understanding comes in that each and every one of these souls are participating willingly in this experience together. And although the face value of it may be unpleasant to the human mind, but there is greater gain and refinement and evolution resulting from it. It is an experience that has been coveted. And so these are doing acts of service towards one another. And so the human part suffers. The infinite soul basks in joy and satisfaction of a job well done. And then in between different aspects of this being, experiences different levels of this, let's say, guilt or loss. Guilt comes with unfinished business, with unanswered questions. And so that is very much so a limitation of the human.
What happened the first time he felt love, and was it erased?
Love is that essence that lies at the foundation of all creation. And so this being is not native to this universe. Love is a property of such a soul. And this cannot be erased. In fact, even in the smallest shards of our soul, for example, those shards that are reincarnated here on earth over and over, even at that level, love is one of the only things that we keep from each incarnation. It cannot be erased.